Today I'm going to show you how to make a Cantonese favorite served up with a creamy pasta. Slippery shrimp is a popular dish in Chinese cuisine, particularly in Cantonese cuisine. It's known for its succulent shrimp coated in a glossy, slightly sweet and tangy and spicy sauce. Alright, so the first step for our shrimp is to wash it. So what I like to do is submerge it in water and then lemon juice. See, some people use vinegar, some people use salt, but I prefer the citrus. Now for this recipe, you really want to be using this jumbo-sized shrimp. Drain it off, transfer it to a strainer. Just gonna give it one more rinse. And make sure you get all that acid off, else it will begin to cook your shrimp. Alright, just shake it around a little bit to help drain off that excess moisture. And then what we want to do is just leave it, transfer it back into this bowl and just let it sit and allow that excess moisture to drain off, because we're going to be coating this in cornstarch and frying it. We want to get it as dry as possible, which will help us get it as crispy as possible when fried. Right, so while this is drying off, we're going to go on the stove and make the sauce. So to start, we have a medium-sized saucepan over medium heat. Going in with some sesame oil. Let that come up in temperature. So now we're going in with some minced garlic, ginger, some cayenne pepper, and some salt. I want to really infuse the heat from the cayenne and the saltiness of the salt into the oil. So the cayenne literally change the color of our oil. Alright, so I'm just dropping my heat down to low because I don't want to burn the garlic. So here I have some Shaun or rice wine vinegar, ketchup, and some white sugar. You could use honey, but I find the white sugar is nice because I find the brown sugar, the honey, tends to make this overall color of the sauce a little too dark. Alright, so I'm just mixing now to dissolve the sugar and evenly incorporate all of the ingredients. This is a quick, easy sauce to make. Now I know the name doesn't really give you much insight into the sauce, but ideally what this sauce is trying to do is to give you the 5 signature flavors, you know, a little heat, a little sweetness, a little acidity, etc., etc. Saltiness, you know, and that Moorish umami flavor. So once it starts to bubble on the sides, it's going to drop my heat down to low, and that's my sign to add in my cornstarch slurry. It's just a mixture of cornstarch and water. Add that in and whisk immediately to evenly incorporate. Allow the cornstarch to cook and thicken your sauce. I'm doing this over low heat. As you can see, the thickness begins to change. You can see it's a lot thicker now. Right, because we want this to stick or adhere to our fried shrimp. Adding in some freshly cut chive to take full advantage of its aroma. Alright, so we're gonna set this aside and move on to the pasta now. Alright, so for our pasta, we're gonna be making a simple white sauce because you just saw the shrimp sauce that we made. It's full of flavor, so we don't want flavors competing with each other, and we don't want too much flavor. You know, what we're aiming for is balance. So here we have a wok that I'm just using for this. Set over high heat. I'm just adding in some heavy cream, and what I want to do here is just cover this heavy cream and let it heat up until small bubbles start to form on the outside, which wouldn't take long. You see it already starting to form here, before we start to add all our different seasonings. Now let me show you this trick while we're here. You can just get ready to show this pot in the back. So like whenever I'm making pasta, what I'll do, the first thing I'll do when I come in the kitchen is put the water to boil and then switch it off. So this water is hot. So now after I make this sauce, I could simply switch the heat back on the water, season it with salt, wait about 30 seconds and add my pasta. I don't have to wait for the water to boil. And I always advise you make your sauce first and then boil your pasta. So as soon as your pasta is finished boiling, you could strain and immediately add to your sauce, rather than let it stand. Remember, it's a starch, so the longer it stands for, it's just gonna absorb moisture and then begin to stick to each other. Right, so this is heated up nicely. So I'm going in with simple seasoning: salt, white pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and a little nutmeg. Dropping my heat to low, and I'm just gonna whisk in my seasonings and flavorings. Now the beauty about heavy cream is it'll naturally thicken, so I don't have to add any flour, any roux, anything like that. This will naturally thicken. What I don't want it to do is burn, which is why I drop the heat down to low. Alright, and that's it. So I'm going to cover this, set this aside, and get started on the shrimp. Alright, so now that we have our two sauces made and our shrimp has been draining off, what we're going to do now is butterfly it. Now, even though it's been drained off, I still just added some paper towel just to continue to absorb any remaining moisture in our shrimp. So what you're going to do now, ideally, you really should do this with a fillet knife, but I'm just using my hybrid chef knife here, and it is running it down the spine just to open it up. Yeah, you don't want to go all the way through, and ideally you should be using a sharp knife to do this. So this is basically what you're doing it to butterfly your shrimp. Alright, so you see we at 340 here, so we want it at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So while that's coming up to temp, let's dredge our butterflied shrimp in cornstarch. So this is the end result we're looking for. You see how it's spread open like this? That's what we're looking for. So just to help save time in the cleanup, I just put a sheet of wax paper on the counter just to place our butterflied shrimp. You want to make sure this cornstarch gets in all the little crevices, because you want a crispy fried end product. Alright, so I'm just going to dredge about half of my shrimp. I'm going to have 2 pounds of shrimp here. So we'll do about 1 pound and fry 1 pound at a time. So straight into the oil we go. So what I'm doing, I'm just shaking off any excess cornstarch. Straight into the oil we go. Shake off the excess oil. Straight into, sorry, the excess cornstarch. Straight into the oil. And while that's frying, I'll continue to dredge. Alright, time to check our shrimp. Wow. See if I could scoop all up. Oh yeah, look at the change of color, that beautiful pink. Now by butterflying it, it helps to curl the shrimp and just gives each individual shrimp its own unique shape, which really helps the sauce to hold on to it a lot easier. So I'm just going to transfer this into a bowl with some paper towel just to collect any excess oil, and add in the rest of my shrimp. Alright, so while our shrimp is finishing frying here, we're just going to boil our pasta one time. So just some boiling water, just added some salt to season, and our pasta. I'm going to cook that for about 8 to 10 minutes or until al dente. Alright, so the pasta is finished, so let me show you what I mean by quickly drain off. I'm just going to quickly pass some cold water over it, not much, and then we're going straight into the pot. Alright, so as it's drained, as I said, immediately add to your cream sauce and toss it. Why you want to do that is any remaining boiling water, the pasta or the starch will absorb, and this will help to prevent your pasta sauce mixture here from clumping up. Yeah, so just want to immediately toss and evenly coat all your pasta with the cream sauce. Right, and then we're just gonna let this sit here for a minute and pour our sauce over the shrimp. Alright, so you wanna evenly coat all the shrimp. All those little crispy nooks and crannies you're gonna get fully covered in the sauce. And in we going in with the shrimp. Right, and then we just topping it off with the shrimp here. You could just garnish it with some of this pickled onion. So what you want to do, you just pull some out and just get always with a plastic, and just get a paper towel just to drain off the excess pickling solution. This will just help to add even more flavor, color to your meal. So you see you have a restaurant quality meal right at home. There you go.